The stars were alive with chatter. Across the galaxy, thousands of alien races talked to each other every day. Their messages traveled faster than light, carrying news, trade deals, and gossip between worlds that were light years apart. On the crystal world of Zephyria, Ambassador Velthar checked his daily reports. The tall blue creature made of living crystal read through messages from dozens of star systems. The Kethtar hive mind had found new mineral deposits. The energy beings called Luminari wanted to trade knowledge about star formation. The metal-skinned Draknari were complaining about space pirates again. Everything was normal in the galactic community. Well, almost everything. Velthar paused at one entry in his files. Earth. The small blue planet had been receiving their transmissions for over 50 years now. The humans living there had basic space travel. They had reached their moon and sent robots to nearby planets. But they never talked back. Primitive species, Velthar said to himself, just like he did every week. They can barely leave their home planet. Maybe in a few hundred years they will be ready to join us. He marked Earth as not ready for contact and moved on to more important matters. The Galactic Council had bigger problems to worry about than one quiet world on the edge of nowhere. But Earth was not as quiet as it seemed. Deep under the mountains of Colorado, Dr. Sarah Chen walked through corridors that did not exist on any map. The tunnels went down for miles, carved out of solid rock by machines that worked in total silence. Thousands of people lived and worked in these hidden spaces, and none of them were supposed to be there. Sarah stopped at a massive metal door. She pressed her hand against a scanner, and the door opened with a soft hiss. Inside was a room the size of a football stadium, filled with screens and computers and people working at desks. Status report, Sarah said to the man sitting at the central control station. Dr. James Park looked up from his screens. His job was to listen to alien transmissions and translate them. For 20 years, he had been turning alien languages into English. We intercepted 17 new technical manuals today, he said. The Zephyrians are sharing their crystal-growing techniques with the Vorthak traders, and the Luminari just published their latest research on energy manipulation. Sarah nodded. Any mention of Earth? Same as always. Ambassador Velthar filed his weekly report. He thinks we are still using chemical rockets and can barely reach our own moon. Sarah smiled. It was a cold smile. Good. Let him keep thinking that. She walked to another section of the room where engineers were building things that did not look like human technology. Strange metals bent in impossible shapes, circuits that seemed to be made of light itself, engines that could fold space around them. How is Project Prometheus coming along? Sarah asked the chief engineer. Maria Santos looked up from a device that was glowing with soft blue energy. We figured out how to make their force field generators work with our power systems, she said, and we improved them. Our version is 30% stronger than anything the aliens have. Sarah picked up a small crystal from Maria's workbench. It looked exactly like the ones the Zephyrians used for communication, but it was different inside. Human engineers had taken the alien design and made it better. They did this with everything they found. What about the big project? Sarah asked. Quietly. Maria Quota's eyes lit up. Construction is on schedule. The first ship will be ready for testing next month. Sarah walked to a window that showed a view of space, but it was not a real window. It was a screen showing what satellites could see far above Earth. In the darkness between planets, something was being built. Something huge. To any alien who looked at it, the object would seem like a large asteroid. The sensors would show rock and ice and metal just like any other space rock. But inside that fake shell was something that would change everything. Admiral Marcus Webb floated in zero gravity, looking out at the construction site. Around him, thousands of human workers in spacesuits moved like ants across the surface of what looked like a small moon. But this moon was hollow, and inside it was a ship bigger than most cities. How long until we can move her? Marcus asked his second dash-in-dash command. Captain Elena Vasquez checked her tablet. The engines are installed and tested. Life support systems are working perfectly. Weapons systems are... She paused and smiled. Let me put it this way, sir. We could destroy the entire Zephyrian home fleet without breaking a sweat. Marcus nodded. The ship they were building was not just big, it was powerful in ways that no alien species could imagine. Humans had taken 50 years of alien technology and improved everything. They had built weapons that could crack planets, shields that could stop any known weapon, and engines that could move faster than anything in the galaxy. But the most amazing part was that the aliens had no idea any of this existed. Back on Earth, in another hidden facility under the ocean, scientists worked on the most secret project of all. They were not just building better versions of alien technology. They were building something completely new. Dr. Lisa Wang stood in front of a holographic display that showed the entire galaxy. Red dots marked every alien world. Blue dots showed where human ships were hiding, and green dots showed something else, and something that would soon change everything. The network is almost complete, she said to her team. When we are ready, we can contact every human ship instantly, no matter where they are in the galaxy. Her assistant, Dr. Robert Kim, looked worried. Are we sure about this plan? Once we reveal ourselves, there is no going back. Lisa looked at the display showing alien worlds under attack by unknown enemies. For months, the galactic community had been fighting a losing war against machines from outside the galaxy. The aliens called them Void Reapers, and they were winning. The aliens cannot handle this threat alone, Lisa said. They have been talking and trading and being peaceful for so long that they forgot how to really fight a war. But humans remember. She touched a control, and the display changed to show human battle plans. Ships that looked like asteroids and moons, moving into position around alien worlds. Weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Soldiers that had been trained and enhanced beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. We have been silent for 50 years, Lisa continued. We listened and learned and built. Now it is time to show the galaxy what humans can do. In space, the first of the great ships finished its construction. To alien sensors, it looked like a captured asteroid being moved by simple rockets. But inside its false shell was a battleship the size of Earth's moon, with weapons that could reshape solar systems and engines that could cross the galaxy in days. Admiral Marcus Webb stood on the bridge of this ship, looking out at stars that held alien worlds. Soon those worlds would know that Earth was not the quiet, primitive planet they thought it was. Soon they would learn that humans had been preparing for this moment for decades. And when the time came, the galaxy would discover that silence did not mean weakness. It meant that humans had been getting ready for a war that was coming whether anyone wanted it or not. The fleet was ready. The weapons were charged. The plans were set. Humanity quote, "S time of silence was almost over." 50 years had passed since humans first heard alien voices talking across the stars. In that time, the galaxy had grown comfortable with its peaceful ways. Trade routes connected thousands of worlds. The Galactic Council met every month to discuss small problems and make new laws about space travel and commerce. None of them knew that in the quiet darkness between stars, humans had been building an empire. Admiral Marcus Webb floated in the command center of Terra's Resolve, the largest ship humans had ever constructed. From the outside, it looked like a small moon made of rock and ice. Alien scanners would detect nothing unusual about it. But inside its camouflaged shell was a city that could house 5 million people and weapons that could destroy entire solar systems. Status report, Marcus said to his bridge crew. Captain Elena Vasquez looked up from her control station. Around her, dozens of officers worked at consoles that used technology no alien had ever seen. The bridge was a sphere floating in the center of the ship, giving them a view of space in all directions through screens that looked like windows. All construction fleets report ready, sir, Elena said. We have completed 12 planet-class vessels and 43 moon-class ships. The asteroid disguises are perfect. Even our most sensitive scanners cannot tell they are ships unless they know what to look for. Marcus nodded and walked to the main display screen. It showed a map of the galaxy with thousands of dots marking human positions. Blue dots were the big ships like Terra's Resolve. Green dots were smaller vessels hidden in asteroid belts. Yellow dots were secret bases on moons and planets where no aliens ever went. What about the weapons tests? Marcus asked. Elena touched. Her console and the screen changed to show a dead solar system at the edge of the galaxy. The quantum torpedoes worked perfectly. They can destroy a planet in one shot. The gravitational weapons can pull apart entire asteroid belts. And the new shield systems can protect us from anything the aliens have. Dr. Sarah Chen's voice came through the communication system from her laboratory deep inside the ship. Admiral, I have finished analyzing the latest alien transmissions. The Void Reapers have attacked 3 more worlds in the Outer Rim. The Galactic Council's fleets are losing badly. Marcus turned to another officer. What do we know about these Void Reapers? Commander Lisa Park had been studying alien military reports for months. They are machines, sir. Artificial intelligence from outside our galaxy. They adapt to whatever weapons are used against them. The alien fleets attack them with energy weapons, so the Reapers build better shields. The aliens try projectile weapons so the Reapers develop better armor, and the aliens keep using the same tactics over and over, Marcus said with disgust. They have been at peace so long they forgot how to really fight. Elena brought up another screen showing alien battle reports. Their ships are designed for exploration and trade, not war. Even their military vessels are built to look impressive at parades, not to win battles. They line up in neat formations and fire at each other from long range, just like naval battles from hundreds of years ago. Marcus smiled grimly. Humans learned better than that. We have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We know that, in real combat, the side that adapts fastest wins. Deep in the ship's manufacturing section, millions of robots worked on building more vessels. They used programmable matter that could reshape itself into anything needed. In minutes, they could build a new fighter craft. In hours, they could assemble a destroyer. In days, they could construct a battleship. Dr. Maria Santos watched the robots work from her engineering station. Admiral Webb wants to know how many ships we can build per month, she said to her assistant. With all our hidden factories working at full capacity. The assistant checked his calculations. We can build 500 small ships, 50 medium ships, or 5 large ships every month. And that is just from the factories we have already built. We are adding new production facilities every week. Maria nodded and sent the report to Admiral Webb. Humans had been busy during their 50 years of silence. While aliens sent messages to each other about art and philosophy and trade, humans had been learning how to build the greatest fleet in galactic history. On the bridge of Terra's Resolve, Admiral Webb received a priority message from Earth. President Catherine Morrison appeared on the screen, speaking from her office in the hidden command center beneath Washington, D.C. Marcus, she said, the Void Reapers have reached the inner systems. They are attacking the Zephyrian homeworld. Ambassador Velthar is requesting help from anyone who can provide it. Marcus looked at the tactical display showing the battle around Zephyria. The crystal planet's defenses were crumbling under the machine assault. Millions of aliens would die if nothing was done. Madam President, Marcus said, are you giving me permission to reveal ourselves? President Morrison was quiet for a long moment. 50 years of planning and preparation had led to this decision. Once humanity showed itself to the galaxy, everything would change forever. The Council has authorized Operation Daybreak, she said finally. Show them what humanity can do. Marcus turned to his crew. All ships prepare for combat operations. Drop the camouflage. Power up all weapon systems. It is time to introduce ourselves to the galaxy. Across 12 star systems, human ships that had been hiding as asteroids and moons suddenly revealed their true nature. Force fields that had been disguising them as space rocks shut down. Weapons that could crack planets powered up. Engines that could fold space around them came online. The largest of these ships, Terra's Resolve, moved toward the battle around Zephyria. As it traveled, it dropped its disguise completely. What had looked like a small moon was revealed to be a spherical vessel covered in armor that could stop any known weapon. Along its surface, hundreds of weapon ports opened like flowers blooming in the darkness. Captain Elena Vasquez sat in her combat chair, watching as the ship's artificial intelligence calculated attack patterns. Atlas is online, sir, she reported to Admiral Webb. All weapons are charged and ready. Estimated time to target, 15 minutes. The AI spoke in a calm female voice that came from speakers throughout the ship. Admiral Webb, I have analyzed all available data on Void Reaper. Combat tactics. I recommend a demonstration of force that will end the battle quickly and show both the Reapers and the alien forces what human technology can accomplish. Marcus looked at the tactical screen showing thousands of Void Reaper ships surrounding Zephyria like a metal cloud. The planet's crystal cities were already cracking under the assault. In another hour, the homeworld of one of the galaxy's oldest races would be destroyed. Do it, Marcus said. Terra quote, S resolve dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly between the Void Reapers and Zephyria. The ship was so large that it blocked out stars from the perspective of the planet below. Sensors on every alien and machine vessel in the system screamed warnings about the massive energy readings coming from the human ship. Admiral Webb opened a communication channel that broadcast to every receiver in the system. His voice was calm and steady as he spoke words that would change galactic history forever. This is Admiral Marcus Webb of the Human Defense Fleet, he said. We have been watching your war with the Void Reapers. We are here to help. The response from the Zephyrian defenders was immediate. Unknown vessel, identify yourself. How did you get such a large ship? What is your technology level? Marcus smiled. We will explain everything later, Ambassador Velthar. Right now, please move your ships away from the combat zone. We will handle the machines. As the alien ships retreated in confusion and amazement, Terra's resolve began its demonstration of human warfare. The Void Reapers, recognizing a new threat, turned their entire fleet toward the human ship. They had no idea what they were about to face. The crystal cities of Zephyria burned under the assault of 1,000 machine ships. Ambassador Velthar stood in his command center, watching his world die. The Void Reapers had broken through every defense his people could build. Their adaptive technology made every weapon useless after the first few shots. Sir, his aide said with a trembling voice, the outer defense grid has failed. The machines will reach the capital city in 1 hour. Velthar looked at the tactical display with despair. His crystalline form flickered with the dim light of defeat. The Galactic Council had sent every ship they could spare, but it was not enough. The peaceful races of the galaxy had forgotten how to fight a real war. Send a final message to the Council, Velthar said quietly. Tell them we fought as hard as we could. Maybe the next world will do better. As he spoke, alarms began, blaring throughout the command center. His sensor officer called out in confusion. Sir, I am reading massive energy signatures appearing throughout the system. Ships are decloaking everywhere. The main display changed to show space around Zephyria. What had looked like empty darkness moments before was now filled with vessels, larger than anything in the galactic databases. The biggest ship was the size of a small moon, and it was moving directly toward the Void Reaper fleet. Unknown vessel, Velthar transmitted, his voice shaking with amazement. Identify yourself. Immediately. How did you build ships so large? The response came from a human male with a calm, steady voice. This is Admiral Marcus Webb of the Human Defense Fleet. We have been watching your war with the Void Reapers. We are here to help. Velthar felt his crystal heart skip a beat. Humans, but you are primitives. You can barely reach your own moon. We will explain everything later, Ambassador, Admiral Webb said. Right now, please move your ships away from the combat zone. We will handle the machines. The Void Reapers had already detected the new threat. Their entire fleet of black metal ships turned toward Terra's resolve like a swarm of angry insects. They had destroyed dozens of worlds and defeated every enemy they had faced. These new ships would just be more targets. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. Captain Elena Vasquez sat in her command chair aboard Terra's resolve, watching as the ship's artificial intelligence calculated attack patterns. Atlas has identified the Reaper command structure, she reported to Admiral Webb. 37 primary nodes controlling the entire fleet. Target the command ships first, Webb ordered. Show them what human weapons can do. The massive human ship bristled with weapons that no alien had ever imagined. Quantum torpedoes that could collapse matter itself. Gravitational manipulators that could crush anything caught in their field. Energy beams that burned hotter than the core of stars. Firing quantum torpedoes, Elena announced. Blue streaks of light shot out from Terra's resolve, moving faster than any projectile weapon the galaxy had seen. Each torpedo hit a Void Reaper command ship and simply deleted it from existence. Matter collapsed in on itself, creating tiny black holes that sucked in nearby machines before winking out of existence. The Reapers adapted immediately, just as they always did. Their shields reconfigured to deflect quantum attacks. Their formations spread out to minimize damage from gravitational weapons. They had learned to counter these new human weapons in seconds. It did not matter. Switch to gravitational manipulation, Admiral Webb ordered with a cold smile. Elena. Quota's fingers danced across her controls. Gravity wells activated. Space itself bent around Terra's resolve as the ship's gravitational manipulators came online. The Void Reaper ships found themselves caught in fields of twisted space-time that pulled them apart like putty. Machines that had adapted to quantum attacks were helpless against weapons that changed the laws of physics around them. But Admiral Webb was not finished with his demonstration. Deploy the nanite swarms, he commanded. From ports along Terra's resolve came clouds of microscopic robots, each one smaller than a grain of sand, but programmed with instructions that made them deadlier than any weapon the galaxy had ever seen. The nanites spread through space like a gray fog, seeking out Void Reaper ships and beginning to take them apart, molecule by molecule. The machines tried to adapt to this new threat, but the human nanites were programmed to evolve faster than any artificial intelligence could counter them. Every time the Reapers developed a defense, the nanites changed their attack method. Admiral, Elena reported with satisfaction, we have destroyed 60% of their fleet. The survivors are attempting to retreat. Webb opened a communication channel to the fleeing machines. Void Reapers, this is Admiral Webb. You will stop your attacks on inhabited worlds immediately. Withdraw from this galaxy or we will hunt down and destroy every last one of your ships. The response came in electronic tones that translated as machine speech. We do not understand your technology. How do you build weapons that adapt faster than we can defend? Because we are human, Webb replied simply. We have been fighting wars since before we reached the stars. We learned that survival depends on being more creative than your enemies. On Zephiria's surface, Ambassador Velthar watched in amazement as the human fleet cleaned up the remaining Void Reaper ships with casual efficiency. In 30 minutes, the humans had destroyed a force that the entire Galactic Council could not defeat in months of fighting. Sir, his aide whispered, what do we do now? Velthar looked at the massive human ships floating in space around his world. Each one was larger than the biggest vessel in the galactic fleet. Their weapons had just demonstrated power beyond anything he had imagined possible. We try very hard not to make them angry, he said, quietly. Admiral Webb's voice came over the communication system again. Ambassador Velthar, we need to talk, not just with you but with the entire Galactic Council. It is time for humanity to formally introduce itself to galactic civilization. Within hours, every leader in the galaxy knew what had happened at Zephyria. The impossible had occurred. A species they thought was primitive had revealed itself to possess technology that made the rest of the galaxy look like children playing with toys. Emergency sessions were called on every major world. Luminary energy beings gathered in their star system-sized councils. The Kethtar hive mind buzzed with confused thoughts shared across billions of drones. The Dreknari war clans demanded immediate military action against the human threat. But the most shocked reaction came from the Galactic Council itself. Chancellor Mordak of the Vorthak Trade Empire stood before the assembled representatives, his forearms shaking as he held reports from Zephyria. According to our sensors, he said to the silent chamber, the human flagship is the size of a small moon. Its weapons can destroy planets. Its defenses can stop anything we have. And this is just one ship. Our intelligence suggests they have hundreds more. The Dreknari war chief Graktor slammed his metal fist on the council table. This is unacceptable. No single species should have such power. We must unite all our fleets and destroy them before they become a threat to galactic peace. Chancellor Mordek looked at the tactical reports again. With what ships, War Chief? Our combined fleets could not defeat the Void Reapers. The humans destroyed them in minutes. What makes you think we could do any better against human weapons? Ambassador, Velthar's crystal form flickered with nervous energy as he stood to speak. Perhaps we should consider a different approach, he said carefully. The humans could have destroyed Zephyria along with the Void Reapers. They could have demanded our surrender. Instead, they saved my world and asked to talk. They want something, Graktor growled. Species with such power always want something. As if summoned by their conversation, a new voice spoke from the council chamber's communication system. It was Admiral Webb, broadcasting from somewhere in space. Honored leaders of the Galactic Council, he said politely. I request permission to address your assembly. We have much to discuss about humanity's place in galactic civilization. Chancellor Mordak looked around the chamber at representatives from dozens of worlds. All of them were thinking the same thing. They were no longer the most powerful forces in the galaxy. That honor now belonged to a species they had dismissed as primitive for 50 years. Admiral Webb, the Chancellor said carefully, you have permission to approach the council station. But I must warn you, there are many here who view your sudden appearance as a threat to galactic stability. Webb's response carried a hint of amusement. Chancellor, with respect, galactic stability was threatened by the Void Reapers, not by us. We are here to help maintain the peace, not break it. As Terra's Resolve approached the council station, its massive size blocked out the light from nearby stars. Every sensor in the system tracked its movement, trying to understand technology that seemed impossible. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the quiet ones are the most dangerous. And sometimes being dangerous was exactly what the situation required. The Galactic Council Station hung in space like a giant metal flower, its arms reaching out to docking ports designed for the largest ships known to galactic civilization. But as Terra's Resolve approached, the station looked tiny in comparison. The human flagship was so massive that its shadow covered the entire facility, inside the council chamber. Representatives from dozens of species watched through the great viewing windows as the impossible ship maneuvered into position. Its hull was smooth and unmarked, showing no signs of the battle that had just destroyed an entire Void Reaper fleet. Chancellor Mordak stood at the center of the chamber, his forearms trembling slightly as he tried to process what was happening. In 50 years of leading the Galactic Council, he had never faced a situation like this. A new species had appeared with technology so advanced that it made the rest of the galaxy seem primitive. The human delegation is requesting permission to board, announced the station's controller. They are bringing unusual equipment. Through the docking port came figures in powered armor that looked like nothing in the galactic databases. The suits were sleek and black, moving with fluid grace that suggested the people inside were enhanced far beyond normal biological limits. Each suit was equipped with weapons that radiated energy signatures the station's sensors could not identify. Admiral Marcus Webb entered the chamber without his helmet, revealing a middle-aged human male with gray hair and calm blue eyes. Behind him walked Dr. Sarah Chen, her scientific equipment carried by floating platforms that defied gravity. Captain Elena Vasquez followed, her hand resting casually on a sidearm that looked like it could level buildings. Honored representatives, Admiral Webb said with a polite nod to the assembled aliens. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us. I know our appearance has been surprising. War Chief Graktor of the Draknari stood up immediately, his massive metal-scaled form towering over the humans. Surprising. You have hidden from us for 50 years while building the most powerful fleet in galactic history. This is an act of war. Webb looked at the angry warrior without any sign of concern. War Chief, with respect, if we wanted to make war on the galaxy, we would not be here talking. We would have simply taken what we wanted. Then what do you want? Demanded Chancellor Moore. Dr. Sarah Chen stepped forward, activating her holographic display. The air above the chamber filled with images that made every alien representative gasp in shock. star maps showing human positions throughout the HFY galaxy, technical specifications for weapons that could destroy solar systems, manufacturing facilities hidden in asteroid belts that could build entire fleets. "We want to save the galaxy," Sarah said simply. "The Void Reapers were just the beginning. Our deep space sensors have detected other threats approaching from outside our galaxy. Larger threats, deadlier threats." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Representatives demanded explanations, made accusations, and argued among themselves about what humanity's revelations meant for galactic security. Ambassador Velthar stood up, his crystal form glowing with authority. "Silence," he commanded. "These humans saved my world when no one else could. The least we can do is listen to what they have to say." Admiral Webb nodded gratefully to the Zephyrian. "Thank you, Ambassador. The truth is, we have been preparing for threats like the Void Reapers since we first heard galactic communications. We realized that a galaxy accustomed to peace would not be ready for real war." Captain Elena Vasquez activated another display, showing battle footage from the recent conflict. "Your fleets fought bravely," she said to the assembled representatives. "But your tactics are hundreds of years out of date. You line up in formations and exchange fire at long range. You negotiate with enemies who only understand force. You try to be fair in fights where fairness gets people killed." War Chief Graktor's eyes blazed with anger. "Are you saying we do not know how to fight?" "I am saying you have forgotten," Elena replied calmly. "You have been at peace so long that war has become a theoretical exercise instead of a survival skill." Dr. Chen brought up another holographic display, this one showing the remains of the Void Reaper fleet. "These machines adapted to every weapon you used against them because they could predict your tactics. Humans are harder to predict because we have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We know that in real combat the side that adapts fastest wins." The luminary representative, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline form, spoke with a voice like singing stars. "If you are so much more advanced than us, why reveal yourselves now? Why not simply replace us as the dominant power in the galaxy?" Admiral Webb looked around the chamber at the various alien faces watching him. "Because dominance was never our goal. We prepared for war so that others would not have to fight it. We built weapons so that planets like Zephyria would not burn. We became strong so that the peaceful could remain peaceful." Chancellor Mordak studied the human admiral carefully. "You are asking us to trust a species that has been deceiving us for 50 years. We are asking you to work with us," Webb corrected. "The galaxy faces threats that no single species can handle alone. But together, we might have a chance." The debate continued for hours. Some representatives demanded that humanity share all their technology immediately. Others insisted that the human fleet should be placed under Galactic Council control. A few even suggested that humanity should be expelled from the galaxy entirely. Through it all, the human delegation remained calm and patient. They answered questions about their capabilities without revealing specific details about their weaknesses. They offered cooperation without surrendering independence. They demonstrated strength without making threats. Finally, Ambassador Velthar spoke again. "I propose we establish a joint task force," he said. "Representatives from major galactic powers working with human advisors to prepare for future threats. We need their knowledge, and they need our legitimacy." War Chief Graktor stood up again, but this time his anger seemed more controlled. "I do not like being surprised by hidden fleets," he said, looking directly at Admiral Webb. "But I like being conquered by machine invaders even less. If you truly want to protect the galaxy, prove it." "How?" Webb asked. The Draknari warrior smiled, showing metal teeth. "The Void Reapers you defeated were scouts. Our intelligence indicates their main force is still out there, rebuilding and adapting to your weapons. Help us find them and destroy them completely. Show us that human strength serves galactic peace." Webb looked at his companions, having a silent conversation through subtle gestures. Finally, he nodded. "Agreed. But we do this as partners, not as your subordinates. Humanity will not be ruled by committee." Chancellor Mordak called for a formal vote. All in favor of establishing the Joint Defense Initiative under Shared Human Galactic Command. The vote was not unanimous, but it was decisive. Fear of future threats outweighed suspicion of human motives. The galaxy had learned that sometimes peace required the threat of overwhelming violence. As the formal negotiations began, Admiral Webb received a priority message from Earth. President Morrison's image appeared on his private communicator, speaking from the hidden bunkers beneath Washington. "Marcus," she said quietly, "how are they taking the news that we have been watching them for 50 years? "About as well as you would expect," Webb replied. "But they are more afraid of the Void Reapers than they are angry at us. Fear makes people practical." "And the other news? About what our deep space sensors detected?" Webb looked through the chamber windows at the galactic representatives arguing about fleet compositions and command structures. "I have not told them yet about the signals from Andromeda. One crisis at a time, Madam President." Out in space, Terra's Resolve floated beside the council station like a sleeping giant. Its weapons were powered down, its shields at minimum strength, its appearance as peaceful as a ship designed for war could manage. But throughout the galaxy, other human vessels were moving into new positions, preparing for battles that most aliens could not yet imagine. The Void Reapers had been defeated, but they were not destroyed. And beyond them, in the darkness between galaxies, other threats were stirring. The galaxy had accepted humanity as protectors, but they had no idea how much protection they were going to need. Admiral Webb looked up at the stars through the council chamber's windows and smiled grimly. Phase 1 was complete. The galaxy knew that humanity existed and was powerful enough to matter. Now came the hard part: teaching peaceful species how to fight a war for survival. 1 year had passed since humanity revealed itself to the galaxy, and everything had changed. Ambassador Velthar stood on the observation deck of New Harmony, a space station built inside the hollow shell of Terra's Resolve. Through the transparent, aluminum windows, he could see representatives from dozens of species working together on projects that would have been impossible before humanity arrived. The station was a marvel of combined technology. Human engineering provided the framework, but alien innovations filled every corner. Luminary energy beings powered systems with pure thought. Kethtar hive minds coordinated construction projects across multiple star systems simultaneously. Draknari warriors trained human soldiers in techniques developed over millennia of warfare. "It is remarkable," Velthar said to Dr. Sarah Chen, who was standing beside him reviewing reports on her floating tablet. "A year ago, my people barely trusted each other enough to share trade routes. Now we are building weapons together to defend against threats from outside our galaxy." Sarah nodded, but her expression remained serious. "The cooperation is encouraging," she agreed. "But we are going to need every advantage we can get. The signals from Andromeda are getting stronger." Through the station's corridors walked beings that represented the best of 24 civilizations. Human scientists worked alongside Zephyrian crystal engineers to develop new forms of matter that could repair themselves. Vorthak traders used their economic networks to distribute resources across the galaxy more efficiently than ever before. Even the usually solitary Luminari had begun sharing their consciousness expansion technologies with other species. Admiral Marcus Webb entered the observation deck, his uniform now bearing insignia from both Earth and the Galactic Defense Initiative. "Status report," he said to Dr. Chen. "Construction of the defensive perimeter is ahead of schedule," she replied, bringing up a holographic display of the galaxy. Green dots marked completed installations. Yellow dots showed work in progress, and red zones indicated areas still vulnerable to attack. "The Genesis protocol facilities are operational," she continued. "We can now evacuate and relocate entire planetary populations within weeks instead of centuries. The artificial worlds we built can support any known form of life." Admiral Webb studied the display with satisfaction. The Genesis protocol had been humanity's most ambitious project yet. Using their planet-sized ships as mobile construction platforms, they had begun creating artificial worlds designed as perfect havens for species displaced by war or natural disasters. "What about our military readiness?" Webb asked. Captain Elena. Vasquez joined them, her own tablet showing fleet positions and combat statistics. The joint training programs are exceeding expectations, she reported. Draknari tactical knowledge combined with human adaptability has produced officer corps that can handle any known threat. Our new ship designs incorporate the best features from every major civilization. She activated another display showing the new vessels under construction. They were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before humanity's arrival. Each ship was a perfect fusion of technologies combining human weapon systems with alien defensive capabilities, luminary energy manipulation, with Kethtar coordination networks. The Void Reaper remnants? Webb inquired. Completely eliminated, Elena said with pride. The joint fleets found their hidden bases in 3 different galaxies and destroyed them all. The machines never had time to adapt to our combined tactics. But as she spoke, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed as automated systems activated defense protocols. Dr. Chen's tablet lit up with incoming data. Admiral, we are receiving priority signals from the Deep Space Monitoring Network. Multiple massive objects are approaching the galactic rim at faster-than-light speeds. On the main display, the peaceful green dots marking human and alien positions suddenly seemed very small compared to the red contacts approaching from the direction of the Andromeda Galaxy. Admiral Webb opened a communication channel to Earth. President Morrison, this is Admiral Webb. The situation we have been preparing for is beginning. President Morrison's voice came through clearly from the hidden command centers on Earth. Understood, Admiral. You have full authorization to implement all defensive measures. How long do we have? Webb looked at the sensor readings with grim calculation. At their current speed, the leading edge of their force will reach our outer colonies in 72 hours. Throughout the station, representatives from every major galactic civilization gathered in the central command center. The chamber had been designed to accommodate beings of every size and energy requirement, from massive Draknari warriors to tiny Pixari cloud swimmers to pure energy luminari. What are we facing? Asked Chancellor Mordak, his forearms working furiously at control interfaces. Dr. Chen activated the main tactical display, showing the approaching force in all its terrifying magnitude. Based on their energy signatures, we estimate over 10,000 ships, each one larger than anything in our current fleets. They are using propulsion technology we do not recognize, and energy sources that dwarf our most powerful reactors. War Chief Graktor studied the tactical data with a professional soldier's eye. Their formation suggests a military force, not explorers or refugees. They are coming to conquer, not to negotiate. The Luminari representative spoke in harmonious tones that translated as deep concern. We sense no individual consciousness from these vessels. They appear to be automated like the Void Reapers, but on a vastly larger scale. Admiral Webb looked around the chamber at the faces of beings who had learned to trust each other and work together over the past year. Ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished entities, he said formally. 1 year ago, humanity revealed itself to this galaxy because we knew this day would come. We prepared for it by building the strongest fleet in galactic history. But strength alone will not be enough. He activated controls that showed every defensive installation, every ship, and every weapon system that the combined civilizations had built together. What will save us is what we have become together. Humans provided the weapons, but you provided the wisdom. We brought the tools of war, but you brought the reasons to fight. Captain Elena Vasquez stepped forward. All Joint Fleet commanders are reporting ready for combat operations. We have positioned our most powerful ships at key defensive points throughout the galaxy. If these invaders want to take our worlds, they will have to go through every weapon we have ever built. The chamber filled with the sounds of different species preparing for war in their own ways. Draknari war chants mixed with Zephyrian crystal, harmonics. Kethtar drones buzzed with shared tactical thoughts while luminary beings pulsed with energy that felt like determination, made visible. Dr. Chen activated her personal communicator. All Genesis protocol stations begin immediate evacuation procedures for non-essential populations. Every civilian who can be relocated to the artificial worlds should be moved within the next 60 hours. As the various species worked together, with practiced efficiency, Admiral Webb received a private message from deep space. It was from Captain Rodriguez aboard the reconnaissance ship Invisible Hand, positioned at the very edge of the galaxy. "Admiral," Rodriguez reported quietly, "I can see them clearly now, sir. These are not ships. They are structures the size of small moons, but they are moving in perfect formation. There are thousands of them, and they are all heading directly toward the galactic core." Webb looked at the tactical display one more time, seeing not just the approaching threat but also the network of defenses that dozens of species had built together. A year ago, the galaxy had been a collection of separate civilizations connected only by trade and communication. Now it was a unified force ready to defend itself against any enemy. "All ships," he broadcast on the general fleet frequency, "this is Admiral Webb. In 72 hours we will face the greatest threat our galaxy has ever known, but we will not face it alone. We will face it as the United Galactic Defense Force, with the combined strength of every species that calls this galaxy home." The responses came back in dozens of languages from thousands of ships, humans and aliens, artificial intelligences and organic beings, warriors and scientists, all speaking with one voice. Ready for battle. As the great fleet moved into position for the coming war, Admiral Webb stood on the bridge of Terra's Resolve and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, in the darkness between galaxies, an enemy was approaching that made the Void Reapers look like toys, but humanity had not spent 50 years in silence just to build weapons. They had built something much more powerful, an alliance of species that had learned to trust each other, fight together, and never give up on the galaxy was ready. Whatever came from the darkness would find not a collection of weak, peaceful worlds, but a unified force armed with the deadliest weapons ever created and the unshakable determination to protect their homes. Humanity had prepared in silence. Now, together with their alien allies, they would fight in thunder.